Welcome back to Hobson's Choice Harleys. As you can see, we're finally getting some shelving. We're getting stuff stacked. Kind of cool to go through some of the stuff. If you're looking for the old school style air cleaners, I got a couple. Just so fun to go through all these crates I got out of Missouri. I've got new old stock bushings, bearings, shims, seals, hose clamps. It's amazing how much new old stock I've got. Most of it's Harley, but there's a lot of Gary Bang. There's some aftermarket stuff. It's just cool to see it up on a shelf. Finding all kinds of cool stuff down in here. Old panhead oil tanks, frame mount kits for fat bobs. Down here I've got all kinds of fork stops, transmission plugs, starter housing, rocker boxes. Just every box is a new adventure. I'm gonna go ahead and start putting these saddlebags that we talked about before up here. Anything just so that we're not banging them up or beating them up. These are all your old school suitcase latch style bags. I've got lefts and rights. And I do have three of the 1 year only 1965 bags over in the corner. If I get a little more room out here, I can bring the rest of the bikes over here, which would be awesome. Oh, look at there. There's another fender. Somebody's cut that one. There, that dog will hunt. Okay, so let's go through another box. What do you think? So this, more headlights, more headlights, more headlights. Softail swing arm bolt, just by the size of it. That's an old school, I think that's an old school chopper front hub. A lot of this stuff is so eclectic and weird that it's gonna take some research. There's your old center stand for an old shovel head. That's a fun piece. We got another front axle. These all are Springer bushings. So that's for like Cervicar Springer front end, which is cool. I've got one of those on my 49 that I need to do some rebuilding on. Various brackets. Caliper bracket for a front wheel, I believe, to run. You know, a lot of this stuff is just universal. A couple transmission shaft gears, and we'll put them down here. All right, so here's another lunchbox oil bag for Sportster. That's 3 so far. Here's an old guide style light. It's a repop, but you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. We talked about that on the fenders last time. This is the older 72 back to I think 58 style. And even repop are getting older and harder to find. So in here we've got a battery box, really small. So I'm thinking chopper or maybe early FX. Kickstart only for a small battery. License plate bracket that somebody's cut and blistered, but you never know what's going to be gold. If you need a back plate for one of those 55 bazillion air cleaners I've got, I do have several stock back plates. Here's another cool battery box. So again, these are kickstart only battery boxes, very similar to what would be on this blue FX, because that's a kickstart only bike from the factory. Neat parts and hard to find parts, and a lot of these are really cool for chopper applications. If you guys are building choppers, I've got a lot of that cool stuff. License plate brackets. What do we got here? Brand new in the pack. Oh, I'm digging this. Your main crossover line for a 69 generator shovel head. So that comes off your front master cylinder, and that's the one that wraps around under your engine. That's a cool part. I know some of you guys are going to say, ooh, V-twin. But you know what? Teddy is like the only game in town for a lot of this stuff. Here's another throttle cable, push-pull. Can be used for a lot of different applications. When it comes to brake lines, you know, the rubber ones get brittle and stuff, but you can have the rubber redone. A lot of the different components that you need, your T-blocks, your sending unit for your pressure unit for your brake light. Stuff's getting harder and harder to find. So I don't throw any of these away until I know for sure they're not viable in some way, shape, or form. Again, here's another throttle cable. I've got literally 200 or 300 throttle cables, and I don't want to fill my shelves up. There's an old starter relay. Again, I'll have to bench test that, and if it still works, it still works, you know. Brake lines. Well, Sportster buckets we mentioned in our last video. If you want a Sportster headlight bucket, 69 through 74, aluminum, has both the oil light on it. I think oil and neutral. Got literally a dozen of those guys if you're looking for any of those. They're kind of fun parts. And the FX is also around those in the 70s. That bike right there came with one originally. That same headlight mount. More chopper stuff. So this is a backing plate for an S&S Super teardrop that somebody's made. It's made out of diamond plate. Kind of fun. I don't know what crossover shift linkage that is, but it's probably something that somebody's dying to get their hands on. Got an old chopper light for a marker light. So these rings are different rings to go around the headlights. They're always missing, broken, or stripped. One side's threaded, one side's not. So it's always nice to have a backup or 10. So that brake light, I don't think it's very brittle. It's brand new. This has never been installed. A lot of guys end up throwing stuff away like that. There's another generator shovel, 66 through 69. This is your back leg that goes from your frame back to your swing arm into your brass block on a drum brake. Juice brake is what they call it. New old stock for Harley-Davidson. Grab-on comfort grips. One. Do I have the other one? Who knows? New old stock cardboard. So here's a new old stock rubber boot to seal a headlight. Here is half. Wow, that's cool. That's half of a set of split bar internal cable. That's kind of a cool piece, man. I hope I can find the other half of that buckhorn. Those are called buckhorn bars. Again, brake line. Yeah, so this has been sitting in a box forever and a day, but it's never been used. It's never been put on. Have to check the pressure on those before you trust your life to the rubber not being brittle. But, you know, again, most of this stuff's brand new. Another brand new rear brake hose, FX 79 through 83. Again, that's your back leg brake hose. New old stock's fun, guys. So that is for somebody will correct me, that's I call it a ducktail fender. It's the back fender on the shovel heads. I've got a part number, I can research that. That's your stator for a shovel head primary. You never know when you're gonna need one of those. That's a clutch rod arm. That's a brake arm. That is a starter bolt for Hitachi or maybe Prestolite. We have half. This is a fork windscreen. You put it on your forks, on their front forks to blow the wind around you. Probably newer. Old throttle cable, chopper status for something. I'll be damned if I know what it is. I like the ones that I get stumped on. But look, there's two. Headlight bushing stuff of some sort. Harley-Davidson acorn nuts, Harley-Davidson. So these are all Harley. Yeah, I think somebody bought a dealer out and I ended up with this box because a lot of these are genuine Harley parts. And they're just assorted washers, nuts, bolts. Who knows what they're for or what they're, you know. Just kind of fun to find this stuff. Some of this is not Harley, but just leave it in the packaging now until I go and inventory it. Those look like rocker head bolts. So yeah, there's an ignition switch template. So it's an ignition off accessory. Kind of a fun piece if you've got that bike. It looks like Evo, early Evo, 90s era stuff. Little accessory screws, little accessory nuts. I don't know where all that's gonna end up, but I'll figure it out. Oh, these are nice. These are saddlebags. They keep your saddlebags like on the construction bike over there. They go over your back wheel and keep leather saddlebags from bouncing into your rear tire. And that's a left and a right set. Pretty much fit any shovel head. That's a cool find. Cowbell, those go on your FLH front end. Exhaust bracket for God only knows what. A couple other brackets, not sure what those are for. Any of this stuff I'm not identifying, you guys know what it is, let me know. There's exhaust brackets. We have, these are little body mount, they're rubber bushings that are threaded. Gasket kit for something, don't know what it is. Always good to have extra gears laying around. Extra washers, those are probably caliper O-rings. Oh, look at that. So there's an old Bosch style voltage regulator, mechanical. We've got a 2-pin regulator. We've got another Bosch regulator. So those are your old mechanical. These are your electric regulators. And I'll have to do some research. I know there's a way to test them, but I just don't know. There's a smaller Bosch. regulator parts are kind of cool. There's a starter solenoid. There's another starter relay. There's another starter relay. So there's different types of relays. There's another voltage regulator. Oh look, there's another starter solenoid. Surprise, surprise, there's another regulator. So that's a regulator. 4-hole, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna have to figure that one out. Okay, that bracket will work for something. There's my other exhaust bracket. Hey look, we got to another box, guys. One more down. All right, you guys made it to the end. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please kickstart that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, comment what you guys think. Let me know if you have any suggestions for video ideas or topics you guys want covered, and I'll do my best to include those in my next project. You guys can also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Also, don't forget to check out the Beacons link in the description below. See you next time.